Hey, Tim Storm here with Arbor Financial Group. Hope you had a great week. So I missed last week. I was actually out of town, but I am back. I'll be around all weekend this weekend if you need anything. So interest rates have been fluctuating around. No big change when you get down to it. May 10th is the date that we're really looking for. That's the date that Barry Habib, the economist that I follow, has been talking about for months because that is the date that the CPI is released. That's the measure of inflation that the Fed is really looking at. And the year-over-year numbers, when you look to what it was last year to what it is this year, should be favorable for inflation dropping and interest rates follow inflation. So we're thinking this would be a catalyst and interest rates will improve. Now, one thing I really want to talk about today for sure is the loan level price adjustment changes. Now they go into effect May 1st, at least that's the way it's being reported. I did a video on this back on January 27th, so you can probably look back in your emails and find that video. I did some examples and everything. This is old news. New York Post just did a post on this, just did a article on this. It went viral, and now it's being reported completely wrong. They've politicized the whole thing, and the way that they're explaining the numbers is so confusing that I can see why. I've got friends who aren't even in the mortgage business who are all upset about this and saying it's crazy that lower FICO score borrowers are being subsidized by people who make their payments on time. And that's just not true. Now, in this example, what I'm showing is across the board in all four of these scenarios, a $700,000 purchase price with 10% down, so a $630,000 base loan amount. Now, the first three scenarios are conventional. So just to show, this first scenario is a $700,000 price, 10% down, assuming a 780 FICO score. At one point, the rate would be 6.125%. And this shows the full APR and everything. Principal interest payment 4864, 88,000 needed to close. Now, if we assume a 639 FICO score, then you'll see the rate jumps up. If we're assuming the same fees, or very similar fees, it still is a little bit higher fees. Interest rate goes to 7.625. Payment goes up 1452. So that's a huge change. A 639 FICO score is not going to benefit somebody compared to a 780 FICO score, which is just logical, but that's not the way it's being reported. Part of the increase here is the PMI. PMI for a 639 FICO score and a conventional loan is brutal. If I click this more info link, this actually shows the PMI on the 780 FICO score borrower is $161 a month. It's $982 per month on a conventional loan when you assume that high FICO or the 639 FICO score. Now, when I go to a scenario where I say, okay, what if we go ahead and we try to get the rate down to 6.125 to match the 780 FICO score, what's it going to cost? It's going to cost 3.7 points. They end up needing $109,000 to close and versus 88,000. So it's like a $20,000 swing. The interest rate, sure, it's 6.125, but they still have the PMI. So they still are $819 higher in payment because of the PMI. Now, the reality is somebody with a low FICO score, is a 639 FICO score, we would take them FHA because FHA, they're looking at a 6% rate. This is what this last scenario is. I did 10% down, but of course FHA would go 3.5% down, and payment $49.79 is only $114 more than that conventional scenario. Now they've got the upfront mortgage insurance premium that's factored into the loan, and that's one of the downsides with FHA. Plus the mortgage insurance goes forever. But if someone has a 639 FICO score, this is what they're going to do. But the purpose of this is really just to show that the LLPA change, while it's a little bit of an improvement for somebody with a 639 FICO score, it's still not going to make them all of a sudden go conventional. We're going to go FHA. That is it. Now, I hope that made sense. If you want to see one of these scenarios for one of your clients, let me know. I'll be around all weekend. Hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.